Welcome to another episode of the House of CEO. So before I get into today's topic, I just wanted to give you a little update of what's been happening behind the scenes with ETS if you are not on our email list. To get on our email list, just simply go to our site. We have a sign up form that's on the home page, and that will give you a lot of insider information of anything that's happening behind the scenes with us. So we just wrapped up the beautiful Big Bill webinar. We had a really good turnout for that. And we just talked about some of the biggest changes that are happening with this new tax update. So if you just want a simplified version of the Big Beautiful Bill, which is a huge document with so many updates that relates to the personal side to your return, the business side, corporate returns, and just agriculture and all types of things. If you want a simplified version that relates to most of the things that will be related to your life and your business, I would encourage you to look at the replay. I also, in the replay, have a PDF document that also breaks it down and the link to the actual bill. So you'll get the video plus our PDF plus the actual bill for you to reference. And this will be in the show notes for you to look at. Another thing is my Substack. So I have created a Substack called The Inner Circle, and it's simply nakandra.substack.com. And what I have been doing on there, you all, and I'm laughing, but it is just a labor of love. What I have been doing is writing monthly insights in there, like monthly forecasts. Kind of like when you get your astrology, it's just kind of like something along the line of just like a monthly forecast, like what I'm seeing from working behind the scenes as an accountant, what has come across my desk, just food for thought for that month. This last one, I talked about AI after going to an accounting conference with this really popular accounting influencer that I follow. He ended up doing like a couple of tour stops, and one of the stops that he did, you all, it was in Atlanta. So I was like, okay, this is great. I'm going to go. So I went to this conference and I met him, but I also got to meet so many firm owners, and the topics that were around the conference was all about AI and what that will look like for the accounting industry and our clients' industries as well. And so I took away so much from that one-day conference because I was able to see all like different ways that people are leveraging AI. And it's more than, of course, just ChatGPT. But even with ChatGPT, going beyond the free version, using a paid version and, the teens version, and even now how they have like the 5.0 version of ChatGPT, I feel like it just gave me just a lot of good food for thought on what it looks like to growing your business while also considering the very rapid growth of AI. And what does that look like? And so the last Substack that I wrote was about that, was about my thoughts around AI for my clients' industries and even my industry, and what I think you should be focusing on. So that's an example of what I mean by like the monthly forecast. It's just talking about whatever is coming up for me for that particular month. I also include if there's something I'm reading, anything around mindset, and then of course around money and finances. So if you are interested in being a part of the Inner Circle, you can get the forecast. There is no fee or anything to get them. It's just being a part of my Inner Circle. Now, there is a paid version to Substack, but when I post those free monthly forecasts, you can read them for free. So you can go to nakandra.substack.com to follow me on my Substack on the Inner Circle. So that's where I am a lot of the time. And then also you'll find me in your email inbox, and then of course here. Okay. So today what I wanted to talk to you about was really how to step back without losing momentum. So with the age of AI, with the age of just business changing, there's a lot of pivoting, a lot of restructuring that's happening. How do you step back without losing your momentum? I have found, even for myself, I've had to do a lot of practicing around being able to take a step back, because when you are an entrepreneur, I think you constantly feel like you're on a hamster wheel. You feel like the wheel is constantly turning and you do not want to get off that wheel and take a break. And I think that comes from, if you create that momentum, how can you get that momentum back? So if you create momentum in your business and then you stop, there's this fear, I think, that a lot of entrepreneurs have, where how will you get that momentum back? And, how can you create space, especially if you're craving it, without sacrificing your revenue? So I just want to give you a few things to think about in today's episode that can maybe help you get a little bit more clarity on how to do that. So first and foremost, even before you do this, recognize if you need to do it. You may be listening and feel like, well, I don't need a reset, or you may hear me and you be like, and you may be considering like, maybe I do need a reset. So first and foremost, recognize the signs that you actually need a reset. An example of this is you have constant exhaustion or resentment towards work. So you feel burned out. You don't feel as motivated when it comes to marketing your business. You kind of feel the energy shift when you start to work, like you don't really want to work. So just this constant burnout feeling. Another example, revenue looks good, but you are working at an unsustainable pace. So you are feeling the effects of your grind, but you are currently just watching from afar and you're not doing anything about it. So you are traveling, you are doing all the things, you're showing up at places, you are serving your clients, but when you lay down at night, or when you get a minute to rest in the evening, you are starting to feel this unsustainability when it comes to the pace that you're working. That's another example. A third example is you are feeling disconnected from why you started in the first place. So again, you kind of lost like this motivation, or you are feeling the effects of just a disconnect from your business, or why you even started this business, your team, and so forth. And then I would say a last example, which is also a really good one, is you catch yourself daydreaming about another version of your business. So you are trying to work out a way in your head of trying to create another version of your business. It could be a bigger version. It could be a smaller version. It could be a simpler version, but you are trying to create a different version in your head. And this could be a way that you know that the type, or like the way that you are running your business, is not sustainable. All right. So those are some of the signs to recognize that you may need a reset. Now you need to redefine what momentum means as far as stepping back without losing your momentum. So momentum isn't always more clients, bigger teams, and more launches. So there is a stigma that the hustle or the grind in momentum means more. It means more videos, more reels, grow the team, more launches, more clients, more. And if you're not constantly in this momentum that we have kind of been like, that we are imagining for ourselves, then that's the redefining that needs to happen. Because what momentum could also mean is it could be steady, it could be highly profitable, and it could be low drama revenue. So a lot of the things that we talked about in the accounting conference is how there is such this obsession over revenue. Even when you are thinking about just this concept of revenue, we're always taught to like, okay, you want to grow to 100,000. You want to grow to 300,000, 500,000, 1 million, multiple 7 figures. You are wanting to grow, but that number or that marketing is really based upon revenue, right? It's based upon the top number. But what a lot of accountants like myself and, so many in the industry, this was a huge topic at the conference, was how profitability is really golden. And you can create highly profitable businesses, but you have to level that with momentum that leads you to chasing revenue. For example, you could have a business that could be making 500,000 a year and the profit could be very high. You could be making over 6 figures of profit versus you could be making $1 million a year and then only have maybe 200 to 300,000 of profit, because in order for you to make that extra amount of money, a lot more was involved. Your team had to grow for you to make that extra revenue. Marketing expense had to grow for you to make that extra revenue. And when you leverage that into all that's happening with AI and how, like from a projection wise, when you are thinking about businesses, a lot of the even bigger corporate businesses are slimming, are really scaling down, are like really trimming the fat on businesses. So you are looking at a direction where businesses, even huge businesses, are becoming more leaner and simpler as a result of everything that's happening with AI. So I think we need to redefine what momentum looks like, because we have historically been taught momentum looks like more. But in the direction that we're going, especially with AI and all of the things that you're going to be able to leverage as time passes on, that's not going to automatically be what qualifies as momentum. I hope that makes sense. So it's very important that you are redefining what momentum looks like in your business, and to also know that steady, profitable, low drama revenue is also defined as momentum and can also be momentum. And so if you are looking at your numbers or you are looking at how your business is performing, if you're watching that profitability, determine what makes you the most profitable. Are there services that are more profitable than others, or services that doesn't require as much as others? All of those things are good food for thoughts as you are growing in this time. Then you want to take all that information and you want to audit your business. You want to audit it and you want to determine what are your best fit clients? What are your energy drains in the business? What is adding more freedom to your business versus what's adding more management? What brings you joy plus profit, and what actually drains you? Start to audit your business so you can fill those gaps by way of, if you need to add more automation in one place, if you need to add a team member in another place, if you need to remove that offering in another place. Audit your business for energy and revenue alignment. So after you audit your business, then you want to do something about it. So an example for this would be creating different work weeks. So if the break is something that you're needing, taking a seasonal break could be an example. For me, I will give you a personal example. For ETS, I took a summer break. So I scheduled my Q2 meetings before I took my break. And then the Q3 meetings do not start until, of course, the fall. So that gave me this gap of time, for the exception of any pressing calls or meetings that I had to have, but it gave my calendar the spaciousness that I strategically and intentionally designed. So this is an example of where I was able to step back, but I didn't lose my momentum. I shifted my schedule up, and then I made sure my schedule was on time for the fall in order for me to take a break during the summer, which is historically, it's a non-peak time. So I was able to use that time to be able to create spaciousness to catch a breath. And it didn't sacrifice my revenue because I didn't lose any clients as a result of that. It was just a shift in my schedule that allowed me spaciousness. So that allowed me to keep my momentum, but also being able to step back. So that's an example of what I mean by like a seasonal break. This could also be a fixed hour work week. Instead of you working a 40-hour work week, you could strategically create Fridays off. Or you can choose to delegate or delay something that doesn't fit the system. So these are ideas that you can think about when you are wanting to take a step back without losing momentum. You have to figure out, is there room in your schedule that you can move in some way strategically to allow you to take spaciousness that doesn't cost you things? Is there something that you can strategically plan for the year to allow you to batch certain things so that you have a break and you're not constantly on a marketing wheel? Is there calls that can be shifted to certain times of the day so that you do not have calls on all 5 work days or all 4 work days? You have spaciousness. Maybe the calls are only 2 days a week. Another example could be your team, being able to delegate more, taking the time to delegate more, or to add a team member to your team that can help you free up some of your time. So these are all ways to where if you are at a spot where you need a reset, but you're not quite sure how, these are some good tips that you can think about, including the tip that I did for myself when it was time for me to take a step back, but not to lose momentum. And then also mindset shifts, right? Make sure you understand that saying no to some opportunities creates space for the right ones. So you're not going to be able to say yes to everything. Saying no to some things will allow you the spaciousness to free up so that you can think in a more creative way, because sometimes you need the break to kind of figure out how you want your business to go, or like where you want your business to pivot to. You also need to trust your systems and your client relationships to sustain you, and to also know that you're not actually losing momentum. You're actually gaining more because that energy is going into you as the CEO that will allow you to reset and give you some of your energy back. So this is just something that has been helpful for me that I also wanted to give to you, because I really believe that your business should serve your life and not the other way around. And sometimes the smartest move that you can make is really to pause, to breathe, and to step back so that you can move forward stronger. So this was just my quick tip on how to step back without losing momentum as a CEO. So I hope that this was helpful, gave you some helpful jewels to think about, especially if you are someone that needs to take a step back as well. Think about the tips that I've given you here and what you can do to create that space, and not wait until you are completely in a crisis to do this. Being intentional in doing it before you have to. So hope this was helpful. Find me on Substack, you all, nakandra.substack.com. For our services, go to exceptionaltaxservices.com. I am also building like a DIY solo CFO series, you all. I have a lot of stuff coming. You can follow that journey on nakandramoran.com. So I gave you all 3 things, but if you just want one to find all the others, you can go to exceptionaltaxservices.com. All right. Thank you. See you in the next episode. Thank you for tuning in to the House of CEO podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who would benefit from these insights. For more updates and resources, follow me on social media or visit NakandraMoran.com. Remember, success is yours to define. Keep building a business and life that reflect who you truly are. Until next time, take care.